Hello and welcome to Actually Autistic with Milan and Zhang. Today we're talking about autism and COVID-19.
We indeed do, because we were starting vlogging again, and we did the other video, and then we all felt sick in COVID.
Yeah. Hello and welcome to Actually Autistic with Milan and Zhang. I had been on and off sick for a while beforehand. I had no idea that anything was going to happen. The way I was judging it was like, because everyone we knew that had that had gotten COVID had like issues with their taste buds and stuff. So I was judging like, as long as I can taste my food, I'm fine.
Yeah, and I didn't understand you had COVID, so I was like forcing you out of bed. Being a really bad mom again.
I mean, because of the fact that I didn't suspect anything, I didn't try to talk about it with you.
So this is one of the things we're actually going to bring up in this episode.
Yeah.
That it's hard to recognize COVID, and it's hard to communicate that you're feeling sick. So there's actually a higher risk of dying of COVID because of that and other issues.
Especially when you're used to like feeling bad on and off repeatedly. You don't tend to have as much of like a reaction when you get sick because you're so used to it.
Yeah, so we've been pretty ill actually. We've been sick like for altogether like a month or so. So why is there a high risk for people with autism when they contract COVID? Why do they contract COVID in the first place?
Autistic people or disabled people in general tend to need to have people come over to them a lot to function better. We've had a few caretakers who've had to take days off because they have COVID.
Or being quarantined because somebody else had.
Yeah. So
so that's a risk that you get COVID from the people coming into your house. But then there's another risk as well as you being isolated because they're not there, so you can't get help because no one is coming anymore.
Yeah. With the reason that people who are autistic tend to die easier, autistic people tend to be more tend to have a high risk of developing like diabetes or becoming obese, which heightens lowers the immune system. Autistic people have an issue with like comfort food and not being able ARFID is a very big problem in the autism community because of hypersensitivity. So many times people can't eat anything other than what they're used to, which results in
bad nutrition.
Vitamin deficiency and like protein deficiency and stuff, which I have.
So we can link the episode we did about ARFID so you can get more information about that. Talking about sensibilities, another issue you have is with wearing masks, right?
We tend to, because of hypersensitivity, many autistic people aren't able to wear masks because it feels painful. Either it's like it presses on their face too much and it feels uncomfortable, or they have trouble breathing in the mask, or it's just like it triggers really bad like sensory attacks that cause them to like feel actual physical pain wearing a mask. When we had COVID, it was really inconvenient because the internet kept going down all the time, and we had no idea how long it was going to be down. There was one time when the Wi-Fi went down and it was out for 3 days, and I almost lost my mind.
We almost died from that instead of the COVID. In the US, they made like a massive study of over 64 or 65 million people that contracted COVID, and then they could draw like conclusions that if you had autism or if you have like intellectual disability,
the risks are like significantly increased.
Yeah, like by 3, almost like by 3. So and this is so sad because you get discriminated and had disadvantages all through your lives.
Yeah.
And even when it comes to COVID, it's also in the educational system during COVID, you didn't get the special needs education that you needed because schools were closing.
People who had very high dependencies on like structure and schedule and stuff got really stressed out in that time because the schedule had been interrupted. But others who were already weren't enjoying schedules in the first place with school and stuff had a much easier time adapting to it.
Yeah, and the fact that they didn't need to go to school, where a lot of students with autism have problems because they can't handle that kind of social situations. So being able to have lessons through the internet was a big relief as well. Yeah. So
if you're not feeling well and you feel like you're sick for any reason, even if it's not COVID, tell someone, because it would be good for you to have help to take care of yourself so that things don't come crashing down too quickly. Don't be afraid to look for help. Don't be afraid of hospitals. You're not being a burden when you when you try to ask for help for something that you feel is serious. Goodbye and stay safe. See you next time. All right. Thank you, darling.